everyone. Welcome back to the Student Arcs Network. It's Ryan here. Today, we are about to start school. As I said, about to start second year, and I have one of my dear classmates here today with me, also a producer of the channel, Calvin, to kind of reflect upon, what happened during our first year in pharmacy school and anything that's particularly remarkable. And I just also want to use this opportunity to share, what are some strategies or tips to navigate through your first year of pharmacy school, and hope you guys will enjoy the content. Calvin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so as Ryan mentioned, I am one of Ryan's classmates, starting on our second year after the summer. And as Ryan mentioned, we can go ahead and discuss any tips or tricks how to survive first year pharmacy school.
Yeah, and I have the great opportunity to not only work with Calvin through this channel, but also we are part of the class cabinets for our class of 2027. So we'll definitely go more in detail on things that, we have experienced this year. So, I would like to ask, right, in one word, how would you describe your first year experience and why, Calvin?
Well, that's a good question. I would say a word to describe first year would be honestly interesting. In a way that pharmacy school would challenge you in terms of managing your time. And with UCI being a quarter system, it feels like everything can go by very swiftly, and you can easily burn yourself out if you're not careful. Um, Along with all that, just studying with the didactics, you also had to pursue an internship. UCI also has a scholarly project as well that you need to keep in mind, as well as keeping up with your extracurricular activities. So overall, it's I would say, yeah, it was interesting and also fun at the same time. UCI is just one of those schools that it seems like they're just overpreparing their students for the future. I came to UCI with zero pharmacy related research, and to be thrown in to a scholarly project, it's an eye opener.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Again, for those who don't have the context, UCI School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences is one of the newer schools around. We are the third class, and we're about to graduate our first class this upcoming year, with the P4s finishing their APPEs. So again, as a new school, I feel like we have definitely a lot of things that you know already down en route because we have good references from other University of California campuses and how they run their pharmacy school program, as well as some basis of really experienced faculty who came from other schools and are willing to be part of this development of this new school. So I feel like we definitely have a good foundation, but there's definitely more to look towards in the future. And I would definitely agree with you, Calvin, about scholarly research, right? Coming into this without any sort of related research experience, and now you're being placed in a position to do these interesting research and being able to follow a mentor, a faculty mentor, to do these type of things is definitely eye opening. Nextly, I want to kind of discuss about the things that we did. I know a year it's really quite it went by quite fast, but it's still a lot of things that happened during those moments that we have experienced during our first year. Maybe we can talk a bit about the competitions we had experienced so far.
Yeah, sure. Some competitions that the school offered. Well, not the school, but each student org offers. Student orgs, I think Ryan can go ahead and elaborate further what orgs there are at the school. But one of the competition that I first participated, I think this is, wow, like first or second week of UCI. It's called a clinical skill competition, um, which basically you work with a partner to work up a patient, a mock patient, and then you had to figure out what the chief complaint of the patient is having, and how to fix that chief complaint using basically SOAP. SOAP in context is subjective, objective, assessment, and plan. Which, funny enough, I think in my current internship uh, over at a hospital, we've been using SOAP So yeah, coming in without knowledge of what soap is, my partner and I we're just looking at lab data of a mock patient and just figuring out what does this patient needs, what is the main problem, how can we fix it, and then other minor solutions such as like you see, a very high blood glucose level, probably just had to recommend, um, typical anti for or diabetes drugs such as like metformin. Um, Funny enough, as first years, uh, we were actually the only group out of the two other groups who are our third years to figure out that this patient needed um, iron supplements because their iron levels were a little bit, or I wouldn't say little bit, but it was pretty low. They're really iron deficient. So we recommended ferrous sulfate. Our main chief complaint, we uh, overlooked it. It was actually meningitis. Uh, so it was pretty funny when we figured out that it was meningitis in the end. Once we thought that this patient needed something else. But anyways, it was to reiterate, it was a really fun experience to understand how the processes of using soap to help work up this patient. Um, when we had our course on soap, my partner and I we found figured out, oh, so this is how we can tackle this next time when we attend another clinical skill competition. So that's my experience with clinical skill competition. There's another competition. I think it was like a counseling competition where you would have to go through a rubric of counseling a patient on a particular medication that's given to you. Um, I would say that Ryan had passed the preliminary of our school and went on to, I believe you attended Florida, is that correct?
Yeah, I did went on to national, but it wasn't online. It ended up because I didn't make top 10, so it was just like online. So I did represent the school on national scale to compete for the national counseling competition for ASP. It was good experience. I feel like I was quite surprised honestly because when we competed within our own school for this competition, like it was just like we just went through how to counsel a patient properly, and we just kind of put it into practice right away. But yeah, I definitely appreciate the opportunity and appreciate you sharing about the clinical skill as well, Calvin, because to be honest, at that moment when I saw you and your partner sign up for that, I was so surprised because I was like, first 2 weeks of pharmacy school, no, absolutely nothing, and you guys just dove in, and you guys did honestly so well, like or like compared to I mean at that time like the P3s have definitely have a better advantage of understanding like therapeutics wise, right? But just by having the bravery to even compete or being up there to do that level of detailed research on particular patient was definitely interesting and good to see. For me, I definitely consider doing that this upcoming year because I definitely feel more comfortable with my clinical skills now than when I was first year when I get started. So, um, I guess we can also talk a little bit about Quiz Bowl. I know that at CSHP we kind of came close with the Quiz Bowl, and for WP became even more closer. We just lost out on Jeopardy question. How? What's your thoughts on it? I know you didn't compete in them, but like, what are your thoughts on us doing quite well in Quiz Bowl within our school this year?
Honestly, really impressed with by how one of our P3s who has been attending Quizpo almost every year, telling us that he was progressively helping UCI climb up the ladder, and like last year would have been UCI's first place on the Quiz Bowl, but um, it's always good to keep your head up because now we know that UCI is right there to get first place of the Quiz Bowl, and just by looking at the questions at the Quiz Bowl, it's like really interesting. It's basically all therapeutic questions. of how you have a mock scenario, patient comes in, what do you do basically? And of course, it's much more complicated than that. Patients having problems X, Y, and Z. Which one do you think is most problematic? But yeah, it's hopefully next year once I have the time or find the time, could also participate in Quiz Bowl. Fortunately, I was a little bit preoccupied during that year, so I couldn't find the time to attend one of those practice runs for Quiz Bowl.
Great, great. So let's move on from events like this. We can talk about class cabinet, right? So, as some of you that are watching my aware, I'm currently the class president. I'm about to hand over my presidency to the president elect for this upcoming year, and Calvin's the treasurer for the class cabinet. So again, I work closely with him in regards to fundings and like trying to find ways that we can fundraise for the school. So, Calvin, what did you enjoy the most about being a class cabinet member this year?
Well, what I really enjoy as being a class cabinet is basically um, giving back to our classmates. For example, we during Chris like I believe it's Christmas. During Christmas, we made Christmas grams for our cohort, basically to help cheer them up, motivate them, encourage them to do well with their finals and whatnot. I know that everyone, I think during finals, I think we're all stressed that we have a to put into context, we at UCI we have a study room up in the fourth floor, and then we basically make that our second home up in the fourth floor. And just by going there, you see everyone all stressed out, studying whatnot to get that A. Um, but having a small scenario where we as Cast Cabinet take our time to package up these goodie bags and give it to our classmates and have a group photo to basically cheer everyone up like hey, like it's not the end of the world. We can get through this together as a class. I think particularly that is the most memorable event to have, as well as we do have a a pine event too, uh, with uh, in terms of fundraising goals. So we as Cast Hammond came up with a fundraiser where as enough donation, each donation um, has a particular goal, and once you reach that goal, there is a reward. One of those rewards is you get to pie your own class cabinets, or you get to pie your own seniors with the and then just seeing the joy and the smile of our cohort, just being so relaxed, having a good time, and having a fun time during final season. It's a pretty remarkable experience.
Yeah, and I still remember when we decided to do like the little package, support package before final. It was like the first time, right? We just got elected like a week ago, and we just kind of came up with this idea to like help, relieve the stress that our classmates are feeling. It was definitely like really important step to being that person to quickly connect with the classmates initially without any sort of background, because again we at that time we haven't even worked out on like you know things we need to do like on the in the background in terms of establishing funds or like trying to host like official events, uh getting the club or getting our class cabinet registered as a organization, all these things. So yeah, it was definitely memorable, and obviously talking about the pieing was definitely interesting per se. Not only did the class cabinet and the seniors got pie, we ultimately also got some of our faculty pie too. So it was definitely a fun experience. I know, like it was just all good, and yeah, it was a good way to kind of get everyone together. So, um, I guess we can also talk about the experience with WPE or any kind of other social events. Well, after WPE, or or before, like, or just social events that we have throughout the year. Um, are there anything that it kind of brought your memories of, like, oh, this is something that's definitely cool that we did outside of school settings?
Oh yeah, definitely. One main event that we, funny enough, class as a whole, we agreed on was karaoke. I believe this is like a couple weeks into our first quarter, and I forgot who it was, but one of our classmates brought up an idea like let's do karaoke after um what was that one conference event? It was a conference in Long Beach, but go ahead.
CSHP, I believe it was. Yeah, CSHP. Yeah, CSHP. It was. Yeah.
Right, right, yeah, CSHP. So yeah, during the CSHP conference, we all of us, almost all of us, came in as a class to help basically experience what a conference is like, what's there to do. But I believe this was after the CHHP event. We basically is basically like an after party for UCI. So yeah, we were just there mingling with the faculty members of UCI, talking, networking with other schools as well that came to visit the UCI area of the conference. And towards the end, I think we all went karaoke. That's when we all went karaoke um, down in Garden Grove, and it was pretty fun. We get to um, hear each other sing. We get to um, see each other who is the party animal, so to speak, in our cohort. But it was truly amazing seeing that we we just barely know each other, but yet we all agree to do karaoke together. And at the end of the karaoke, of course, we had a group photo. So it was a really fun experience, I would say.
Yeah, and again, moving on, talking about WPE that happened like around March, April this year, with the Vegas experience. How was it for you?
WPE with Vegas, honestly, it was actually pretty fun as well. When attending some of the WPE events, and after WPE, getting to experience Vegas with your classmates as well. Um, I think one of the therapy events that I attended was a residency information session, basically trying to get you ready for residency, what to expect, what to prepare, and how to um, do a mock interview for a residency. But outside of WPE, yeah, we also attended some fun events at Vegas as well. I don't know if I can go too much into detail, but definitely there was some clubbing going on over at Vegas. So,
It was all
but
fun and fun times. Nothing happened afterwards. It
yes, it
was
was it
all
was awesome.
clear.
Nothing too crazy happened. I would just say, to put it bluntly, that it was pretty fun.
Great. All right. So just kind of wrapping up, what are you looking forward to next year, Calvin?
Next year, honestly, I think I really look forward to our first therapeutics, actually. Talking to some of our upperclassmen a year above us, and them telling me about their experience with therapeutics. I believe our first therapeutic is cardio. I believe cardio is our first therapeutics. Is it a cardio or GI? I gotta double check. But just
I
by
think it's both. I think it's
it's
both.
both, right?
Yeah.
But which one? It's at the same time?
Yeah, at the same quarter. I think
Okay.
believe it's spring quarter. Yes.
Okay, okay, perfect. So yeah, it's cardio and GI, and um just hearing one of the incoming P3s their experience with cardio and GI. Uh I thought it was pretty fun. Knowing the important drugs to use for these two therapeutics, knowing the dosage and basically following um, guidelines basically through Lexicom. Lexicom has everything with it. But uh, to put in perspective, I witnessed a pharmacist basically doing his CE on his therapeutics, and I get to read the questions that it was testing him, and I was like, wow, this is actually pretty interesting because it's basically like the clinical skills where patient comes in with this problem. What would you give them? At what dosage? Um, what strength? And what kind of drug? Because there's many drugs that can deal with this particular issue. Which one is the best? And I thought that that would be, I would think that would be much more interesting than doing through didactics. So yeah, therapeutics, I believe, would be something that I am very looking forward to next year.
Yeah, I agree. I think at this point, I know we still have 2 more quarters of just like general things. Um, I think I again I am looking forward to therapeutics too, because that's where you actually get to know those skills that you will apply lifelong as a pharmacist. I'm not saying the other things are not important, but things like that it's one of the reasons why we go to pharmacy school. So, any other like major events you're looking forward to?
Events, well, I guess one event that I'm probably looking forward to is, again, WPE, but instead of Vegas, it's gonna be in San Diego, I believe. So be interesting to look around San Diego, see how San Diego is. I think I've only been there once, but I'll be happy to be there a second time because there is a really good ramen shop in my opinion, over at San Diego. So I
Yeah.
think that's I think that place I would be looking forward to go back again. But other than Derby, I do not have anything else in mind currently. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I think obviously I'm planning to go to APHA annual again for this year, which is going to be in Nashville. But I think again WP, you can't go wrong with WP, especially in San Diego with that amount of food. Um, and it's a good spot to just like kind of take it as like kind of like a retreat. So I would definitely agree with that. All right, perfect. So again, thanks for sharing your thoughts, Calvin. And I'm also looking forward to next year, see what things are intact for us. So yeah, hope that we can maybe do this even yearly, and then we'll see how much we have grown over the year during the time we're in the program. So. Thanks for everyone for listening or watching into this video. Drop a like if you enjoy our sharing, click subscribe if you enjoy content, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Thank you.